3, 2, 1. Let's try it again.
Let's do it again.
3, 2, 1. Perfect. We're back with another episode of Lady on the Street podcast. And you guys, I've been waiting for this girl to come on, and she's here today. I'm so excited. So we are getting to know another lady who seems to be doing it all. I mean, really, she's a hairstylist, a makeup artist, an esthetician, a photographer. And when she's not doing one of those things, she's finding the time to stay active. She's being a wife, taking care of her cat Mufasa, and she's documenting it all on social media. So it's why we're getting to know her a little bit better today. Natalie Sanchez of June Beauty. Thank you for coming. Yeah.
You don't have sound effects of your sound effects.
I know, yeah, I love it. Nailed it. No, I am just happy to have you here. And already right off the bat, we're having side convos. I'm like, girl, you smell amazing.
Oh,
love it so much.
Thanks.
Okay, so I start every episode off asking what we're drinking. When I asked you, you were like, I know exactly what I want, a cherry vodka sour.
Yes, it doesn't matter where I am in the world. I will order a cherry vodka sour. Sometimes I get it right, sometimes they don't. And my husband kind of saw my obsession with cherry vodka sour. So he's like, okay, I'm going to make it a point to get all the ingredients, make it for you and our little family, like barbecue cookouts and stuff like that. So I get everybody onto them.
Yeah.
The cherry vodka sours. Yeah. I just love them. I don't know why.
Yeah. I was making it and I was like, well, first of all, I have never made one, but I was like, this is probably one of the first drinks that I ever had. I think it's like one of the easy ones to remember, right?
It is.
You know?
Like, yeah, it's so easy to remember. Yeah. You really can't get it wrong unless you don't have the right ingredients.
Yeah.
So sometimes like if I, I'm out somewhere on vacation, they don't have the grenadine. So then they end up putting the like another type of juice.
Oh.
Like either like pomegranate or they'll do what's that other one? That other juice that like cleanses out your system?
Cranberry
juice.
Oh no.
And that just totally changes the taste.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll drink it, but I'm just like,
yeah, you're like, it's not a cranberry vodka sour, it's a cherry vodka sour.
Yeah, I need to carry like the little
I know, just like a
little one.
Just put it in there.
Yeah, just
I know. Okay, well, I had her do a taste test just to make sure I nailed it for her, and she was like, cheers.
Yay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm like slurping. Normally I have a straw.
We need like a little ASMR, like the audience is gonna be like, nope.
They're like, stop it right now.
Just stop.
Well, I mean, I never fully bartended, but I did work in that atmosphere for a while, so I do know the trick with the grenadine is to get it, because the vodka sour is like a layered look, and so you have to pour it against the rim of the cup for it to sink down.
Yeah.
Otherwise it just mixes like mine. I mix mine together, but yours is right.
Yeah. And I usually, I can down those things so easy.
Really?
Yes.
Well, if we need to take a pause, I'll get you out.
Yeah.
No, I love it. Okay. So we'll get enough about the cherry vodka sours, right? Let me just get into how I met you. So my sister recently got married, and I was helping her look for like somebody to do our hair and our makeup and all of the above. So we were just scrolling, social, looking for San Antonio, like makeup artists, hairstylists, and we came across your page. And we were just fascinated by the fact that you do everything, because that's not normal in this industry.
It's not normal. And honestly, I know like a handful of people that maybe do 2 of the things that I do.
Yeah.
And then for me to like just do everything, it is not normal in this industry.
And not only is it not normal, I don't know how I tell a lot of people this because I am just in awe of what people are doing, but I'm like, I don't know how you find the time to do all of the different things.
Yeah. I honestly think what helps is that I don't have children.
Yeah.
Had I had children at like a young age, I think that I would still be in the beauty industry or taking photos, but I might not be doing all the things.
Yeah.
Because I definitely would want to be a very present mom and maybe just work with clients on the weekends. Like I work 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Typically, that's like normal for me. But it's because I don't have kids. So I know the day will come. And once it does, like, I'm going to have to kind of chill out a little bit. Yeah.
No, I love that you're so motivated, though. It's obviously it's amazing for your business, but going back to my sister's wedding, she did my hair, which amazing, like nailed it to the T, everything we wanted. And my sister's hair was gorgeous.
Your
Like,
sister was just so beautiful that day.
oh
I know
yeah,
everything
yeah,
was like crazy and chaotic,
yes,
as all weddings are.
yeah,
And I tell everybody, like, don't think this is only happening to you. This is
right.
every wedding, and
Mhm.
I see it every weekend. It's okay, and everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah, no, you were amazing,
Oh, thank you.
but while like in true Priscilla format, while she was doing my hair, I start just like asking her questions and I'm getting to know her, and you were sharing a little bit with me and I was like, I need to stop asking you these questions now, and like
Yeah.
you need to just come on the
Yeah,
podcast
I'm
and
just
do
gonna
it.
save it for the pod.
Yeah.
All the juicy questions.
Yeah, I know. But I was laughing though because, well, not laughing, but this is very intentional, okay? You shared with me that like your upbringing, your family
Mhm.
was very much hard rock, and you were like the
Yeah.
exact opposite. I was like, let me get my like family vibe
Yeah.
AC/DC on.
Yes, I love that. Oh, you should have told me. And I meant to ask you, like, hey, what's the vibe?
No,
I
you're
should have
good.
just wore like, rock t-shirt and stuff like that.
No, you're
But
good.
I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna give Stepford housewife today.
I love
Rich
it.
mommy.
Rich mommy. I love it so much. It's beautiful.
And I match Mufasa.
Oh, I know.
That was
I
my first thought.
know.
Yes, so this
You're
is for him.
sweet. So we got into it a little bit while you were doing my hair, but tell me a little bit about how you got into the beauty industry. It started kind of in high school from what you said, right?
Yes. So when I was in high school, I had got hired to work at JCPenney's in the Levi's department. I had turned 18. I remember I was like, okay, I want to work. So I remember walking in the summertime because my birthday's in June, super hot. We all know that, right? Especially if you live in Texas and
Mhm.
in San Antonio, it's scorching. So I had, did my makeup, my hair, and I walked to JCPenney's because it was I want to like a walking distance
Yeah.
from my mom's apartment where we were living. And so I walked to JCPenney's, went to the little computers and just applied there. And my first job was men's Levi's. And there was, Levi's had just got introduced to JCPenney's at that time. So I was one of 3 that had got hired. And I didn't know anything. I was so lost and, just having to fold jeans all day, every single day. I will say this though, the good thing that came from that is that I love folding clothes.
Yeah.
I love it's so therapeutic for me. I can fold like no one's business.
Yeah.
So I was there for a few months. One of the upper management from Sephora had told me, hey, we have 2 girls that are leaving. One is going on maternity leave and one is going to college. We would really like for you to work in Sephora. And I was so intimidated.
Really?
Yeah, just because I think that one, I was in high school, and I grew up in like poverty and stuff, and I couldn't afford $25 lipsticks and
Mhm.
$40 foundations. So I knew that I couldn't set foot in there because I couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
And then another thing was the girls there, they were just like beat down to the nines.
Like you are now.
Like I am now.
Yeah.
Yes. Like I now am who I looked up to then.
Sweet.
And so my motivation.
Yeah.
Definitely I'm
Mhm.
my own motivation. So he had asked me, I thought you had to be a cosmetologist to work at Sephora. Turns out you don't need to be a cosmetologist or an esthetician. You don't even need to know how to do makeup.
Yeah, I don't think, yeah.
No,
I can tell sometimes.
train you. They train you, which
Yeah.
that's like a whole nother story in itself. The training, just being in a room by yourself watching like, I don't know, 50 hours of video, just going through things. But no one's like phically training you to
Mhm.
like blend and, snatch people's faces. You
Yeah.
just you're just thrown on the floor and you just learn as you go. Basically, that's what it is. So I was asked, I said no. I said no
Really?
almost 5 times because of how scared I was. And I
Yeah.
was young and I was very intimidated.
Yeah.
And I was like, why me? Like I wore barely any makeup, just like mascara and some lip gloss. That was it. Some foundation. The Maybelline like mousse.
Oh my God. I
Did
was
you
talking about
remember?
this. That was my product. You would just like scoop it out. And yeah, it was
Yeah.
like putty for your face.
Mhm.
I brought that up a while back, and everybody
Yeah.
remembers that mousse. Dream that mousse, baby.
And oh my gosh, it would deoxidize.
Yeah.
So you start to look like a little Oompa Loompa after
Yeah.
a while. Yeah, it was rough. So that's all I would wear. Probably didn't even match me, to be honest. And I don't know, I guess he saw something in me. Mind you, he wasn't the manager that worked in Sephora. There was another girl that was actually managing the Sephora. But he was above her. And I had asked, like, well, why me? And he's like, well, you already know the system of JCPenney's as far as the computers go.
Yeah.
So we can just train you the makeup side and then you'll be good to go, ready to rock and roll. I was like, okay. After the 5th time, I said, you know what? If I don't like it, can I move back to Levi's?
Yeah.
And no, sure, I fell in love. That was my introduction. And I look back now and I'm just like, I wonder where that man is.
Yeah.
So I can thank him. His name was Alex. I don't know where he is now, but if it wasn't for him giving me that opportunity, I would
Yeah.
not be here today.
Oh, Alex, we got to
Yes.
find you.
Alex, we need to find you. Yeah. Yeah.
We got to do like a collab video, right?
I know. Yeah, because I think he'd be like in awe and
Yeah.
of where I am like now because of him.
Well, and it's funny that you say that you didn't even really wear makeup. Sorry, Lucy's going to be part of this podcast, guys. She's just drawn to you, so
It could be the cats or it could be the smell.
she just thinks you're interesting. She's here for it. But you said you didn't really wear makeup in high school, and I get that. Like when I'd never been. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I had never been into a Sephora until I was an adult. You know, like or when I could afford it on my own, because I was in the same position as you. Yeah. So how did you then learn? You went to cosmetology school, or did you just learn by practicing on yourself?
So when I was in Sephora, I really did get thrown onto the floor on a Saturday, one of the busiest days of the week. And they said, you know, if you can survive a Saturday, you can survive any day. And people were coming up to me asking me like, hey, where's NARS? And where are all these different makeup brands? And I was like, hold that thought. Let me go ask somebody. So I would ask another girl named Megan, who to this day, we are still such good friends.
Really?
Yeah. She helped me so much. And I would just practice on all different ages, all different faces at Sephora. And then I would do my own makeup. And I remember being in my room with my little vanity from IKEA, practicing 6 looks a day that I found on Instagram, practicing, rubbing it off, practicing again. My eye was so raw by that point. If I have wrinkles around my eyes, it's probably because of those days. And then I wanted to do Cosmo because when I was in high school, I went to South San and they had cosmetology there. But I moved the middle of my junior year and I was supposed to sign up my sophomore year, but we didn't know we were moving at that time.
Yeah.
So when I went, they said, no, you cannot be part of the Cosmo program, which I would have loved because it's so much more cheaper going and doing Cosmo in high school than it is in your adulthood.
Yeah.
Because Cosmo in high school, you pay for the kit, which is about $1,000, and then they pay for like your test. As an adult, it's $25,000. And it's crazy because you really are taking a gamble on yourself. And some people go and pay that amount and then they don't do nothing with their license.
Right.
They don't even graduate. They're like, oh, I don't like touching people's hair and I don't want to touch people's faces.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dang, that's an expensive like lesson learned.
Yes.
Because you got to pay regardless if you decided whether it's something for you or not, you have to pay that money back.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do Cosmo. I didn't. But the opportunity arose later on in my like career when I was working at Dillard's. Like, you fast forward to Dillard's 2016, man, those are some days. Like, working for Dillard's was, you had to be a shark when it came to selling makeup.
Yeah.
And I got that opportunity because of Megan. So
oh, really?
It was crazy. I was an assistant manager for Icing, which is a sister company to Claire's at Ingram Mall. I was there assisting and managing, and Megan calls me one day. I'm at work and she calls me. She's like, hey girl, I got this job opportunity at Dillard's, and they need 3 people, counter manager, 2 workers, someone to do makeup. They asked me who would I think that would make my job easier, and you're the first person who came to mind.
I love that.
And like somehow we always like followed each other. And so I was like, okay, I'll go to the interview. Went to the interview, and the the store manager of Dillard's, she interviewed me, but she didn't tell me like ask me questions or like have me sell myself to her. She just pretty much told me, this is what I need from you. I've seen your work and I know what you're capable of, and I need you and I want you here. And I was like, Okay, so I had the job before I even walked in.
Amazing.
And it was awesome because of Megan, because she
Yeah.
set that foundation for me when I walked in. And then we worked together, and it was rough opening because it was for Laura Mercier.
That's what I was going to ask. What was the brand that
Laura
you?
Mercier,
Yeah.
new to Dillard's. They
Mhm.
hadn't had it, luxury line, but I was competing against Chanel, Christian Dior,
Mhm.
Lancome, Estee Lauder, and here I am, like, trying to get people to this counter, and we had some crazy sales goals at that time,
Yeah.
and we were not able to make it. So they would tell us, okay, I need you to sell this much a day, but some would come in and they would return something, and then I was in the negative, having to make up
Oh.
for that money and then some.
Yeah.
So a lot of us end up getting fired, and that was the first and only job I ever got fired from, was
Really?
Dillard's, because I couldn't make my sales go.
Oh
Yeah,
gosh.
I felt like I got set up for failure because shortly after I left, they ended up wiping out the whole counter. It's gone. Like, Laura
Yeah.
Mercier's not there no
Well,
more.
I feel like and not to like knock on her, but she's known for specifics. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? I like her setting powder is obviously
Mhm.
one of her best-selling products, but I don't feel and I'm no beauty expert, but I do feel like there are certain brands where they put anything out and people buy just because they want to
Mhm.
try it. And for her line, it's very specific. So to upsell anything
Yeah.
seems like it would be challenging.
It's a specific demographic
Mhm.
that she caters to, and we're talking 2016. 2016 was like sharp eyebrows, cut crease,
Yeah.
glitter, a totally different
It was
vibe.
very Urban Decay
Very
and
Urban
not, yeah.
Decay,
Mhm.
MAC.
Yeah.
MAC, oh my gosh. So at that time, Laura Mercier catered to, I would say, more mature women.
Mhm.
She believed in very natural makeup,
Yes.
enhancing like the natural beauty. And it's crazy because she actually would get upset that people were baking with her Laura Mercier translucent powder. She said,
Really?
this is not for baking. This is just, set the
Setting,
canvas in
yeah.
stone. We used to do this cool trick with that powder, actually. We would get one of her red lipsticks, or any red lipstick, and we would put it on our arm and then get a little puff and just set it on top of the lipstick and have the client just rub it, and it would not come off.
Really?
The red lipstick was not on their hand, and we
Oh
would
my,
sell them like that.
that's
Yeah, because it
amazing.
really doesn't make your makeup move. It's like the best powder, and I still use it to this day.
Yeah, I use it as well, and I use it not necessarily to bake, but as
Mhm.
more I put it all over, like,
Yeah.
which I think is what it's intended for,
It
you
is
know?
intended
Mhm.
for, yeah. So her whole thing was like, flawless canvas,
Yeah.
and also because she was a painter, so she, like, for her clients, she would, like, it was like painting to her. And
Yeah.
also she wanted something, because a lot of her clientele were models. She wanted something that was going to be flawless for flash photography.
Mhm.
And me being a photographer, I was like, okay, this powder doesn't give photography flash kickback. Great, I gotta have it, and I'm gonna put it on every single body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. So,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I'm sorry you got let go, but like I'm also glad you
Yeah.
did, you know?
Well, yeah, so I get let go, and I out of a job, and someone there that was working at Dillard's had also left. I don't remember if she left or she got let go, but when I tell you, they were firing people left and right. They were firing people daily,
Mhm.
all the time, and it's probably still like that to this day.
Mhm.
But one of the girls there that used to work at the Origins counter, she had tagged me on a post of somebody looking for tellers for their husband. Their husband was a branch manager, and they were looking for tellers. And I was out of a job. I had my car payment and my
Yeah.
insurance and my phone and makeup. It's only a weekend thing. People only need you for events on the weekend. So I was like, what
Yeah.
am I going to do Monday through Friday?
Yeah.
Like, girls got to eat.
Yeah, yeah.
So I reached out to that girl. I told her, hey, is your husband hiring? I would love to apply. And she's told me his name, and I put in his name in the application, and they pulled my app really fast. And I went to the interview, and I got the job, and I ended up being with Bank of America for 5 years, longer than what I thought I was gonna be there for. But I'm glad I was there because it helped me through the time when I was in COVID. Like when COVID was
Yeah.
happening
Mhm.
and the beauty industry got shut down for 2.5
Yeah.
months. It helped me through beauty school,
Mhm.
because beauty school was expensive, paying
Yeah.
$500 a month to beauty school on top of all the other bills and stuff. So Bank of America helped me so much. It helped me develop like my customer service skills,
Yes.
and it teaches you a whole nother level of patience working at the bank.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
the two things that people do not play around with is like money,
Hmm.
food, and of course their kids.
Yeah,
But
but
in the service industry,
hmm
it's money and food.
yeah,
People don't mess around. Like, you see their true side when it comes to those two things,
I
and
bet.
boy did I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm sure it gave you like the stability that you needed because being a creator is always like you said, you're kind of taking a chance, right?
Hmm.
And so I didn't even know you worked at the bank and
Yeah,
like, yeah,
I worked there for
yeah.
5 years, and it's crazy because later on, I ended up finding out that the assistant branch manager that was in my interview
Hmm.
process didn't even want to hire me. Yeah, it
Really?
was because I had said, I do makeup and hair and photography. I have a business. It's a weekend thing. I need, these Saturdays off a month, but I will let you know 6 months in advance because brides book really
Right.
far in
Yes.
advance. And later on, I found out that she had told the branch manager, I don't think we should hire her. I think this girl's gonna be gone. Like, she has her own business. I don't think she's gonna make it here.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because I ended up being there for
5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ended up being there for 5 years, longer than what I anticipated too. But
Yeah. But I feel
glad.
like there's something to say about that honesty, right? You're
Hmm.
like, I want to be part of this team, but
Yeah,
these are my parameters. Like, can
yeah,
you work with them or not? You know?
yeah. And
Yeah.
I had some managers that had came in that did not want to work with that schedule, and I just assumed that when I got hired on and I said, hey, I need, like, maybe 2 Saturdays off a month, and I let them know what my expectations were and they agreed to it, I just assumed that when a new manager was going to come in, it would roll over,
Oh,
and it did
right.
not.
No.
No, they were like, well, what are you going to do for me
Yeah.
to do this for you? And what if people come asking questions? What am I going to tell them? So I then had to give more of myself to the bank, more than
Yeah.
what I wanted to. So it was like, oh, I'm a part-time employee, but I'm working full-time hours. And
Mm-hmm.
anytime somebody would call in, I was having to go in and like work and stuff like that. So
Uh,
yeah, it was bittersweet.
yeah. No, it seems like the perfect way to like a good learning lesson,
Hmm.
right? Like you said, and you learned all of your customer service skills there,
Yeah.
and I guess how to de-escalate as well, right?
Oh yeah, how to de-escalate. Man, we would have people come in that we would have to call the cops on
Oh
them.
my gosh.
We would have people try to spit at us, cuss at us. And homeless, a lot of the homeless would come in,
Mhm.
they would have, like, they were like, mentally ill, and things, and or also just probably being outside in the hot Texas heat probably got them a little delirious because
Yeah.
they were acting kind of crazy. So there was that. We were always having to call the cops on people. Racism,
Yeah.
that's the first and only job I've ever seen racism happen
Really.
at, and it was at the bank. And it was so crazy to see that in person, like
Yeah.
racism, not towards me,
Yeah.
but towards like the other
Your
employees that
colleagues,
were
yeah.
colored. And they were very vocal about it. Like, they would say, like, I'm not going to be helped by that black boy and things like that. And it was just
Ugh.
like, what?
Yeah.
And I would lock my computer and I was like, I'm not helping you either. I'm
Yeah.
leaving. And I would go to the back because I was like, I'm not going to help
Right.
you.
Like
Yeah,
it's and it always surprises me that that's still very much alive,
I
you
know.
know? And when you
Yeah.
see it up front and it's like so in your face, it's like, what the fuck, you know?
Yeah. It, I don't know. Like, I'm still speechless now just
Right.
talking about it, because
Mm-hmm.
imagine me in that moment. These are my coworkers, and I've built these relationships with them.
Mm-hmm.
And you care about the people that you work with, and then
Mm-hmm.
to see that, and they're so graceful about it too. They're just like, well, this is what we're taught as kids growing up.
Ugh,
Our parents tell us that there's people like this, and this is
yeah.
what's going to happen, and this is how you should handle yourself.
Yeah.
And it's normal to them, and it
It's
just like
so
rolls off their
sad.
shoulder. I'm like,
Right.
what? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so sad.
No, it really is. But I commend you for saying like, well, I'm not going to help you
Yeah,
either, guy,
yeah, yeah.
my guy.
I'm
Like,
like,
no,
peace
mm-mm.
out.
Yeah, no. It's like if you can't work with anyone here, like, don't work with
Yeah.
any of us, you know?
Yes.
No, that is insane to me. But again, it's almost like naive of us to feel like, oh yeah, that's not a thing. It's very much a thing,
Yes,
you
it is
know?
very much a thing. So I saw that at the bank, but there was also good moments too. I'm not gonna, like, the good moments were They took care of us during COVID.
I was going to say that probably heightened a lot of the animosity and stress because it was
Oh,
during
yeah.
COVID.
Hmm.
Everybody was stressed out.
Yeah. So we were at, I worked at a financial center that was one of the busiest, if not the busiest financial center in all of San Antonio, the specific Bank of America. And I worked there. And because we produced so much money, we had to stay open.
Which one is that? I'll bleep it. But
It's the one.
I figured that used to be my branch like years ago.
Yeah, it's like so busy there.
Yeah.
So when COVID happened, they had said we're not closing the doors down like all these other banks, all Chase and Wells Fargo and everyone else. We're not going to close down the doors, much more less to this specific Bank of America.
Yeah.
Other Bank of Americas did. A lot of them were working through their drive-through or taking appointments, and it was just appointment based and
Yeah.
one person at a time in the financial center. Us, it was like, COVID's going on, but you're going to pretend like it's not going on.
Right.
And we're leaving our doors open.
Oh my
And
gosh.
we had to get security. That was the first time we had security. And we had continuously a line wrapped around the building
I
at
bet.
all times. And people were waiting in the heat and stuff like that. So they're upset. And we
Yeah.
have tents out there and we're handing out water and we're like trying to do our best.
Mm-hmm.
But people were just not having it. They were so upset. And so they
Yeah.
would take it out on us.
Yeah, it's like they're probably mad that their nearest branch
Mhm.
was not open. And
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, I don't know how you did that, but
Yeah.
so when was your last year there? Do you remember?
Yes, I do. I remember vividly, like it was yesterday.
Yes.
The trauma. You see my eye twitch. It's because of the trauma. The PTSD.
I know. I mean, I believe
It's
it.
not
That
the
must
cherry
have
vodka sour.
been. You're like, I can handle these. And if I could not handle the stress of that.
Yeah, so it was in July of 2021 is
Okay.
when I left. So I started 5 years prior to that. It would have been what year?
2021, 20. I suck at math. Yeah, 2017.
2017,
Yes.
yeah,
Mhm.
2017. I'm like, I worked at the bank and I'm over here counting on my fingers.
You're like 2009?
Yeah, no, like
I'm
just
just
because
kidding.
you work at the bank doesn't mean you're good at numbers,
No.
okay? Because we had our little calculator.
Exactly.
So,
That's funny. I'm like, don't put me on the spot. I hate when, yeah.
do not ask me about my timetables.
No, my husband will be like, what is like 800 plus whatever, right? And then
Yeah.
I'm like, the math is not mathing. And he's like, never mind, I already figured it out.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't ask me.
I'm like, oh, great.
Good for you.
Oh my gosh, I see those memes where they're like, you remember the math teachers where always say like, you need to figure out how to problem solve this because you're never going to have a calculator in your pocket. And we do by
We
our
do.
cell phones.
Yes.
Like we very
Mhm.
much do. Yeah.
Lies. They lied
Right.
to us
They
all.
lie. All lies. Yeah. So yeah, July 2021. So I was actually trying to leave 2022 around the beginning of the year, around February. I was trying to leave because I had already graduated from esthetician school. So let's rewind back.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Okay, so 2019, I decided, I want to say it was in like January, February. I guess because it's the new year, I keep finding this pattern that I do these things in the beginning of the year. I decide, okay, what is my year going to be like? Let me set the tone right now.
Resolutions.
Yes,
Yeah.
resolutions. I am heavy on resolutions. So it was 2019 in the beginning of the year, and I had said I wanted to go to esthetician school. And I didn't even know estheticians were even a thing until 2016 when I worked at Dillard's.
Yeah.
Actually, that's okay. So I went to Ogle Beauty School, right by North Star Mall, like area, and I went to Ogle Beauty School. But I first got introduced to Ogle Beauty School through a girl named Erica who worked at the Chanel counter.
Okay.
She was an esthetician there, and she said, "Hey, I have this coupon. It gives you a facial. I think it was like $5 for a facial." I was like, "Girl, I will be there." Say less.
Yeah, exactly.
So I went to the beauty school and I told her, you know what? Like I can totally see myself doing something like this. And she's like, "What? Really?" She walked me to the admissions office because her best friend worked in the admissions office and she had quotas to get people to sign up for school.
You're like, I know.
Yeah, she had quotas. So I thought I was about to sign up for Cosmo, but they said, we need you to quit working at Dillard's, your full-time job, or go part-time, and you're gonna have to come 8 hours during the day, Monday through I think it was like Friday or something like that, and maybe a few Saturdays. And it's gonna be $25,000, and it's gonna be
Mm-hmm.
this much a month. And I was like, wait, you want me to quit my job? How am I gonna pay y'all?
Exactly. Yeah.
So I backed out, and also too because I thought about it, and I'm very afraid when it comes to color and cut and touching people's toenails.
I love the honesty.
That one got me. I was like, toenails, bunions? Oh no, can't do that. Not for me.
Toenails, bunions, fungus. Oh my. I could never, and I'm like, kudos to all the people that do that, you know.
I know,
but,
yes.
The things they run into, I'm like, yeah.
There's just no way. And it's like, how dare I judge, right? Because like I have scarring on my feet from wearing high heels at the bank for 5 years on my feet, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there I am, my little corns and stuff, kind of having them do my toes. Yeah, but I can't do that.
Yeah, no.
I couldn't. And then color and cut scared me because I think as a woman, we've all had these traumatic experiences going and getting your hair done and like leaving wanting to cry. We've all had that.
Yes.
And I didn't want to be the one to cause that to anybody.
Right.
And so I said, no, I don't want to do Cosmo. So I backed out. And also because it just didn't work with my schedule. It just wasn't aligning.
Yeah.
And the lady hounded me. She hounded me and she would call me 7 times a day. And she was like, are you going to sign up for the class?
That quota.
Yeah. and so, you know, working at Dillard's, and then I get fired from Dillard's, and I'm working already at Bank of America, and I'm helping a different financial center, and the lady pulls up in the drive-thru and she's like, Natalie, is that you? And I was like, well, no, I'm working here. Like, I'm not. And that branch manager, she was like, do you know that lady? I was like, unfortunately, yes. But I was like, they want me to go to the school. I get it. Like, she has to hound these people. I get it. But I just knew it just didn't align with my schedule and stuff. So it wasn't until 2019 that I decided I'm gonna go for esthetician. And then come to find out they had night classes. I believe it was their first year having night classes.
Amazing.
I was like, great. I can work at the bank, and then I can go straight to beauty school and, you know, just do it all over again, work with clients on the weekends. So that's what I did. And then I graduated 11 months later and got my esthetician's license when I took my state board exams. So my goal in 2020 was, okay, I'm going to leave the bank and I'm going to do esthetician full time, do the makeup, do the hair, do the photography.
Yeah.
And so COVID happened. And I said, you know what? Just kidding. I love it here at the bank. I'm going to stay here.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to stay.
She's like, I'm essential. So
it's like, I said a lot of things. I didn't mean them.
I didn't mean it. I was hangry.
Yeah, I was hangry. So I stayed during COVID. The governor shut us down for 2.5 months. And they were doing like sting operations on people in the beauty industry. Like undercover cops were going and cracking down on people working from home.
Yeah, because people pivoted and started doing it out of their house.
Yeah.
And it's like, they were like, no, you can't. They were giving fines and stuff, right?
They were giving fines. It was a crazy time. So I survived that. I remember the governor had opened up the beauty industry to start working on a Friday. And I remember that day very vividly, and everybody and their mothers were booking. Everybody was hairy, like
they all had mustaches.
They all had mustaches, armpit hair you could braid, and they were looking rough. And so so I was there pulling hair out and doing eyebrows and facials and stuff. So sorry,
they were looking rough.
They're looking rough. A lot of them were like, okay, let me DIY this. Let me try to do this on myself. And then there was other people that didn't even attempt it, and they were just there, like in hibernation, like trying to get through COVID. It was a time, and the governor had opened us back up. So I hit the ground running, working like crazy, still working for Bank of America, like going to the branch, and then taking clients on the weekend, and then I said, okay, I'm going to wait till COVID fizzles out, and then I'll leave the bank.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until 2021, July of 2021, that I was like, okay, I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready. Also, because they weren't working with my schedule anymore. So I said, you know what, I'm ready. And there was a lot of moments that I would, cry myself, like in my car, just cry, like on the way home, trying to like decompress from
Yeah.
working at the bank during COVID.
Oh,
That's when I knew. I was like, all right, time to put in those 2 weeks. And
yeah.
I did. And I wish I would have done it sooner, but everything happens in when it's supposed to happen. Like,
Yeah.
so I do believe that as well too. And COVID prepared me for everything for my business. And then, yeah, and now it's since 2021, I've been running my business.
Yeah. No, and it seems like maybe COVID helped start your initial clientele,
Hmm.
and so you stayed at the bank as long as you needed to. And it seems like it didn't hinder you in any way, and you're still doing your thing, which is insane
Yeah.
again. And I didn't realize you brought this up, that cosmetology and like esthetician school are two different things. I kind of bubbled it together. So
Hmm.
I'm sorry I'll put some respect on that name, I didn't mean to do that. But yeah, I learned something. So no, I think that's incredible though, that you like were able to work your way through school and you made that wise decision to like,
Mhm.
as much, because so many people, if they're being hounded and somebody's following them at their job, like people would cave and just
Yeah.
do it because they almost felt bad for that lady
Yeah.
trying to meet her quota, so it's good that you were like, no, this is not going to be for me, especially if you're going to follow me to my job. And
I know. Well, I think she was doing a deposit for Ogle Beauty School. Ogle Bank to Bank of
Oh,
America.
okay,
So
then
she
it
was
makes
doing a
sense. Yeah.
deposit and through the drive-through, and I was there and she saw me and she just like, Natalie, better sign up for school. I was like, oh man, I've been rejecting her calls
She
and
found
she
you.
found me.
That's so funny.
It's like the
What are the
universe
odds?
knew I was gonna go to beauty school and they were
Hmm.
really trying to push it for that year, but I
Yeah,
wasn't ready.
you're like, no, I was not ready yet.
It's not ready.
No, that's awesome. Tell me then, like, so your content, so much of
Hmm.
it, and we'll get to photography because again, I don't even know how you throw that into the mix,
I
but
know.
your content is amazing. So do you have anybody that's helping you like shoot it? Because you're so hands-on. You're the one
Hmm.
doing the work. Is anybody helping you shoot it, or you're,
I shoot it myself.
my gosh,
I do
girl.
everything myself. It wasn't until last year, November, that I got an assistant,
Hmm.
but an assistant to help me more so with like household things that I
Right.
couldn't
Hmm.
do. And I know just simple things like washing my spa towels or just
Yeah.
ordering like product and replenishing my little product drawers and stuff like that. Just simple things. But as far as like everything else, like I work alone doing makeup, I work alone doing hair, I work
Yeah.
alone doing like the the editing part.
Yeah.
I'm the only one who takes the photos. I don't have a second shooter. I don't have
Hmm.
an editor. I don't have someone who films content for me. I don't
Yeah.
even have some like I set up my own business photo shoots, like headshots. I set up the lighting, the backdrop. I do my makeup, I do my hair, and I set up all the settings on the camera. And I just tell my assistant or my husband, stand here, don't breathe, and just
Yeah.
take the
Just take
picture.
the picture.
Yeah, make sure it's clear. That's all I
Oh
need.
my
I'll do the rest.
gosh.
I'll do it all by myself.
You're
Everything.
incredible. And
Thank you.
what's crazy also, I mean, not crazy, but you're calm. Like you've got this calmness to you.
Yeah.
Are you always this calm and just
I
like collected and poised and
Yes,
yeah?
always this calm. So I am one of those people that you can put in on stage in front of like a huge, massive audience, and I'll
Hmm.
be okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay. Um, or when I would go like live on Ken's Live all the time,
Oh yeah.
that was very like nerve-wracking. I would say the first time,
Hmm.
because I think it was the fear of the unknown. I didn't know what was going to happen or what questions I was going to be asked or
Right.
how would everything go. But after every single time after that, I would go on. It was like I worked there at Ken's
Yeah.
Five. I was like, y'all need to hire me
Yeah, I'm
already.
like, you're like, let me do all of your
Yeah,
makeup,
just let me, yeah, do all
your
your
hair and
makeup
everything.
and let me just, come and do the live. As I would teach people how to do makeup on there. And
Yeah.
I haven't gone on recently. And they had asked me actually around, I think it was like last month that they had asked, but I it was something that I would say gave me good experience, but I didn't benefit from.
Yes, right.
So I I thought, okay, let me go on the news and let me see what comes of it. Maybe I
Hmm.
get new following, maybe I will get more bookings. or just an experience. And ultimately, I just got an experience out
Yeah.
of it. It was
Mhm.
fun. It was awesome to be able to experience that. But my demographic of clientele are not watching the morning news.
Right. Mhm.
They're more on Instagram and TikTok, and that's how I reach my
Yeah.
audience, not through the morning news.
Yeah.
So I realized that it wasn't for me,
Mhm.
and it wasn't really helping me. It was just something it was fun to
It was
do.
fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was just taking up your time at that point,
Yeah,
right?
because it was I would have to get 3 clients, and then I would wake up at 2 a.m. I would do my makeup, do my hair. Then the first client would come in, or first model
Yeah.
would come to my home at 4 a.m., do her makeup. Next one at 5, do her makeup. Next one at 6, do her makeup. Drive all the way, like a hour drive. You know how the
Mhm.
traffic is around here.
Right. Mhm.
So drive over there, then get mic'd up, do the mic check and everything, and wait for my cue. And then I had 5 minutes to finish 3 makeovers on camera, talk about products, answer interview questions, plug in my socials,
Right.
and it was in 5 minutes. It was a lot. So when I would do the girls' makeup at my home, I would like maybe leave their lips out, or maybe leave their
Mhm.
liner, or something that I was just gonna do on camera.
Mhm.
And and just because of who I am, I would, tell my models like, I'll do your brows for free next time. Thank you so much for waking up early, driving all the way
Right.
to me,
Mhm.
being my model, because they weren't getting paid for it. I wasn't getting paid for it,
Right.
but I was giving out
I was
services.
gonna say
So,
you're losing
yeah,
money.
I was losing money. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
losing money and time. And by doing the services as a thank you, I didn't have to, but because of who I am, I was going to do that as a thank
Right.
you. So I
Mhm.
did. And then I just realized, like, oh, I'm not getting not one client.
Right.
So my booking website asks every person who books with me, how did you find me? And never once has it been, oh, from the news or for
Yeah.
Ken's Five.
Yeah.
It's always like so and so recommended you,
Mhm.
Instagram or Facebook.
Yeah,
Yeah,
social.
it's
And
all about the
again, that's
socials.
that's how I came across you,
Yeah.
and I'm happy that you don't need that. Like, you're doing it on your own,
Mhm.
and I'm sure it's a lot, like, obviously,
It
right?
is a
You're
lot.
busy,
Yeah, I
and
have my moments,
yeah,
my breakdowns.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say, but do you take time for yourself at least?
I
Or you're trying
don't,
to?
and I'm trying to.
Mhm.
And I recently, a lot of unfortunate events happened recently, that this this week I'm just like, you know what? I really need to take time to myself and not run myself to the ground.
Yeah.
My thinking has always been, I wish sleep didn't exist, because I have so many other things that I could be doing in those 8 hours of sleeping.
Yeah.
Why does sleep have to exist? I know as humans we need sleep, but I wish, like, as humans, that we did not need sleep. Like, I
Right.
wish the world just kept going, because I have so many things I want to do.
Mhm.
But then I remember, well, you're human, you're not a robot, and you
Right.
need sleep and you
Yeah.
need to eat and all those things. And
Yeah.
so recently I had a lot of unfortunate events happening all at once. Like, a lot of bad things
It
were happening.
always happens that way, right? It's like
Yeah,
it
it comes in
hits.
threes.
Yeah. Yes.
It's a real thing. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I had all these things happen with my business. It was with my business, and some health things as well.
Yeah.
Like health, like, just, I was told I was pre-diabetic and I needed to cut down on sugar and all these things. And my limbs were going numb, which is not a good thing when these hands are my money makers. Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that wasn't a good thing. And those were signs of being pre-diabetic. So they told me, okay, you need to cut down on the sugar intake. So I did, and I do feel better. But I have this tendency on weekends when I'm so busy not to eat,
Yeah.
which makes my, like, sugar levels go up or
Up.
down. Like,
Yeah.
they just go either super low or super high.
Mhm.
And um so I ended up in the hospital on Sunday.
Oh
Last
my
Sunday I ended up in the
gosh.
hospital, because I thought I was having a stroke. And I haven't been to the hospital, I think, since I was like a junior or sophomore in high school. Yeah,
Really?
for tonsillitis.
Yeah.
Tonsillitis. They're like, what boys were you kissing?
Uh-huh.
And I was not. I was just very anxious and nervous that I was a finger biter and all these germs from
Oh,
school and
right.
then bite my
Mhm.
fingernails. So that I ended up with tonsillitis. That's the last time I've been to hospital. And then, well, now this past Sunday, so I ended up in the hospital. I didn't even want to go. My husband
Natalie.
forced me to go. We
Yeah.
were out eating at Black's Barbecue in New Braunfels. I
Oh,
don't know if you've
yes.
been.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
love that place.
Yeah.
So we were there, and I hadn't eaten all day. I had worked for 11 hours straight with clients. And then I told him, hey, I'm hungry. And New Braunfels is about an hour,
Yeah.
20-minute drive from here.
Yeah, it's pretty far.
So we get there and it's super crowded and packed.
Yeah, you don't just show up and like you sit down right away.
I felt like an anxiety attack coming on.
Yeah.
And I'm very calm and collected. Like, I'm very calm, and even though I was diagnosed with anxiety, I'm like someone who can just function with it. It's fine. I know how to handle it, but I'm also like millennial, and we just handle things like differently. Yeah, we just handle things differently, and we were built different.
Yeah.
There was no time to be dwelling and woe is me.
Right.
I was like, get up and get your butt to work.
Girl, I had this moment, just this resonates because just last night I had to like look at what I was doing parenting wise, and I'm like, is this good or bad? You know, like nobody gives you a handbook, but I had a scenario here where that exact like mantra applies to it, and I'm like, yeah, it's the tough love is like that we do it to ourselves as well.
Yes,
you know,
we do it to ourselves, absolutely. So I was there eating, and it was crowded, and I started getting sharp pains in my chest and then radiating pain like on my left breast. And I had numbness on my arm, which I had been having for a couple of months.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, okay, it's either nerve damage or carpal tunnel from all the typing of years at the bank.
Yes.
Because women there were getting carpal tunnel surgery there. And I was like, oh man, that's going to be me.
Like, it hit me.
Yeah, I'm like, that's going to be me. If I'm here for 20 years at the bank, I'm going to get carpal tunnel and have to have that surgery, as they did.
Yeah.
And also because when I'm doing hair, I'm going around the wand continuously, client after client, weekend after weekend, year after year, that I felt my arm tingling a few months ago, but I kept ignoring it. I'm like, oh, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
I think my tendons were getting swollen every weekend, and then they would calm down during the week, and then the weekend comes again to hair again. So then I start the right side of my face started kind of feeling like it was drooping, like it was heavy.
Really?
And I'm eating and I'm crying in pain. And I say I handle pain well, and I have a high pain tolerance level because doctors have told me I've had a high pain tolerance level. Whether it be like a dentist or plastic surgeon, like they'll say like, hey, you have a high pain tolerance level. And I just handle it. So I started crying. My husband's like, what's going on? Are you okay? And I was like, I don't know. And so he told me, we're going to go to the hospital. And I told him, I can't. I have clients tomorrow.
No. Oh my God.
He's like, forget that. Your health is important. Your clients will wait. So I end up at the hospital, and they're like,
all right, that does it for part 1 of Lady on the Street podcast. Make sure you tune in next week for part 2. And don't forget to follow me on social media at Lady on the Street podcast. You can find me on all of the major platforms. And of course, if you're here on YouTube, make sure you like, rate, and subscribe. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you next week.